Welcome back to another video on Gearsaw Studios, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build a mushroom village, which is fully compatible with normal villagers. However, before I begin, remember, please like and subscribe, and without further ado, onto the tutorial. Our palette is going to be including a couple of different blocks, of course the 3 mushroom variants if you're on Bedrock 4, although I would like to use the Pores version. Java just doesn't quite allow that, so might as well go with the more limited version. So, 3 of these, then crimson planks whenever we do need planks. You can use pores, the underside of these for flooring, but it's not feasible on Java, so just use birch planks there. And for our blacksmith, we're going to be using blackstone and its variants. Then, scout out a nice mushroom island, and establish a central point where you want the village to be, centered around. This one's looking extra beautiful with the warm oceans, and remember, this is supposed to be used for villagers, not necessarily a player base where it would be all nice and pretty. This one is going to be working more for the villagers, so expect smaller houses and such. Once you're ready to build your village, you want to place down some chiseled stone bricks or a lodestone, and place down a bell on top of it. A bell is necessary for making your village an actual village, although villagers will still be okay if you don't have one. Then, in this area, you want to place down some market stalls. So, about 3 wide on the crimson planks, and maybe not have them so close to each other, because this is admittedly kind of close. So make sure that there's proper distancing. They don't need to be symmetrical, but I prefer them that way. And you just need yourself 4 market stalls. Don't forget that you don't have to use crimson on the whole thing. Using some carpets will also suffice. Bell in center, 4 market stalls around, utilizing blackstone. We have a village center. You can see in the middle we have a shroom light. We should use these heavily in the build considering they are derived from mushrooms. And of course, make sure to check that your village is light enough at night, because even if you are on a mushroom island, still it's much better to have everything lit up rather than everything in darkness at night. But from here, turning time back to day so that my mobile users can see, what we want to do is start making some paths. Villagers prefer walking on grass paths like this, and make sure to place blocks under things like that. But, of course, we can use other blocks. Cobblestone and mossy cobble are the second cheapest blocks for them to walk on. They use a strange system that you can just look at the wiki for further info on. But we want to be using cobblestone and mossy cobble. Make these paths in almost like a grid pattern, kind of like a normal village, all around the island to make the boundaries of your village. I have some village paths here, and well, there isn't too much to say about them. Anytime you have an inward bend though, place down one of these light posts, which is polished blackstone, blackstone wall, 2 crimson fences topped with a shroom light, and choose what buildings you want for your town. So, of course, houses, farms, animal pens, and then sort out all your job blocks, and think about which ones you want. The ones that have lime concrete under them are the ones I'm going to do, and I'm going to skip the ones with red. Although, you can make your own versions. But, one thing to consider, farms always come with a composter, and grindstones means blacksmith. If you're okay with those terms and conditions about that, then get your mushroom blocks and start situating where you want everything. Starting off with everyone's favorite structure, the blacksmith. We start off with a nice blackstone base plate, including cracked bricks and normal bricks. And what we want to do is designate a small area for lava, so just case that in towards the back somewhere possibly. And remember that anytime you have to go up more than 1 block, you want to put down bricks on the side, although you might want to do more. place down a grindstone somewhere, and then, using a blackstone outline, possibly with slabs on top, you can safely place down the rest of the building, so getting more mushroom. Our design is going to be looking kind of like this, with some brown on the bottom and stems above. Although this is just a rough draft of the build, this is roughly what we want. Now, we have a completed blacksmith using the styles of the original blacksmith, and we can see it's functional. It has a bed, and it has a grindstone. Technically, this is all you need for a villager working place, but of course it has some extra amenities. But, of course, this is not meant to be the perfect building. It's not meant to be master build. It's supposed to be functional for villagers. And as everyone knows, villagers aren't very smart. So we do have to dumb down the builds a little, but at least they fit in with vanilla, and you could definitely pass this off as a natural generating structure if it weren't for the palette. Either way, you want to go outside, and, well, you want to set out your other buildings. For our next building, we want to make a leather worker station. And what that means is you need to build some sort of mushroom house around a cauldron. An easy way to build a nice mushroom house is, of course, we just have the same design we have going on here. If you copy that, then you can make some pretty basic, but they fit in mushroom houses. Although this area might be a little too small for one, and if you have an area that's too small for something, instead you can create a normal villager house. In this case, it's going to look something like this. Of course, make sure that you have no pores facing outward, but 3x3 interior, standard for villager houses, and then we have the mushroom cap on top. So, goes one block outward, and then it goes up into a nice flat area. A little mushroom house here, and, well, this is literally a villager house. It's slightly more detailed than the ones that naturally generate, but you can still definitely say this looks naturally generated. Not to mention, we have the pores on the floor. These are just brown mushroom blocks because you only get the pores texture with the same type touching. So a little bit of an example, if we do this, pore texture. So what I did here is I placed them on top, and now we have that texture. But if I place other things here, you may notice, well, that's not a good example, but say I placed on two of these, well, three next to each other, no pores texture. And, well, no pores texture. So keep that in mind whenever you want that specific texture. But now, of course, we want our tannery with the cauldrons for leather workers, and there really isn't too much to say about that one. You just make whatever looks good for you, look at whatever other villages use, and eventually you'll figure it out. But remember, you can increase the size and you can use blackstone. Over here, we have the tannery. There isn't too much to say about it. You just elongate a mushroom house, add some windows. I've forgotten a set of windows on the other side. And you have a shroom light hanging by a chain on the inside, a chest in the corner, and as long as you have two cauldrons, small outside area too, you have a tannery. Of course, villagers don't really detail their builds terribly much, so this is all good. Now, we move on to building our other structures, and all of them follow the same rough plan. They all revolve around having a mushroom house, somewhere to place the objective item, so a workstation, and once you have that done, cross it out on your list of things you want to do, and you move on. Of course, each building should be a little different from each other, and some of them can even be 2 stories if you just, build the roof later. But yeah, pretty simple to build this kind of village once you have a rough plan of what you're doing. So, I've been building some buildings, and I have one smithing place done, just open sides on a normal building. But there's one thing we do need to cover: how to do an animal pen in this palette. You must note that you need grass on the inside because otherwise sheep will not regrow wool. But otherwise, you can copy what the plains did or whatever the desert does. I recommend copying the desert though. So, of course, they're not complete copies, but you want to make yourself a pen, fill it up with some grass, and remember that the grass on Mushroom Island is neon green, which is actually really nice. So, getting some here, and you'll see, although it says ocean here, it's actually really nice. But make your pen, crimson fences, place some slabs on top so that way they can't escape, and then you'll be having a pen. Make sure that your shepherd's place is nearby if it's filled with sheep. A simple sheep's pen and a shepherd's house have been completed. We can see they look like actual villager structures. Make sure that most structures include chests. Outside, we have some banners hanging, the same colors as the market stalls over there, and we can use the same thing for the tannery for the leather hanging. But, of course, this is starting to get completed, and there isn't too much to building each one of these. You just need to come up with a mushroom, a unique twist on the build, and then you need to make it all cohesive. And how you do that? Add random structures, small benches using crimson planks. As an example, getting myself some stuff for a nice bench, and it's really simple. 3 slabs, and then some trapdoors around. Now we have a bench. Add small things like that all around the town, and then you'll have a nice cohesive city. Don't forget about hay bales, and make sure that there are enough houses to supply for all the villagers needed for every job. Note that when you're building this place, make sure that you visit it at night, and make sure that 1. There's nothing coming for your villagers, and 2. That it's all properly lit up. I have included myself some lampposts all around, so that way it's nice and bright. But otherwise, keep building. Once villagers start moving in, and you get some golems in, you may notice something rather annoying. The villagers like to ignore your paths. And, well, that's just a necessary fact that we have to deal with if we choose to have cobblestone, tuff, and mossy cobble in our pathways. Because the aforementioned blocks are considered 1 cost blocks, while mycelium is a 1.5. So sometimes they'll cut through because it's quicker for them. Therefore, we might have to replace your cobblestone and mossy cobble with normal grass paths if you want them walking there. If you don't mind them being a little bit more disorganized, you can leave them there, but otherwise replace all of them with paths. With another building completed, with a cartography table, a spiral staircase, with a bed at the top. Not entirely sure if this one's completely accessible for those below. We are now down to our final pieces of this place. Of course, keep decorating, but we want to start constructing farms. Each one should have at least 1 composter, but no more than 3 or so. And you just make a nice base plate like this. You'll need multiple water sources. And then you just make a box. Fill it up with dirt, place some water in it, composter at one end, and then you have a farm. Make 2 or 3 of those, and then your village will be vastly more functional because if anyone happens to die, they'll reproduce. After all the work we've done on the village, I can say that this thing is done. Although it's a village, you can indefinitely expand upon it. One of the most important things is saying when it is done. But first, we have ourselves a fishing hut. Just a small pond, accidentally made it symmetrical. Although it would be good if it linked to the ocean somehow. You know, nice chair. I only say morning after all. And, you know, it's all the things that you'd like in a village. We even have a nice large oak tree And yes, you can get the large ones from saplings, it's just pretty rare, so I had to use a command to get that one in. But farms a nice well with a mushroom growing in it, and it's all just nice. If you're looking for a nice place to store your villagers and you don't want a trading hall, then find a mushroom island and plop one of these in. It will be a nice interesting experience, and if you need more villagers, you just add on to the village. And with that, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe, and even if you don't, enjoy the rest of your day. If you have any questions about how to build this that I didn't quite cover in the video, comment down below, I'll be happy to help. Either way, Gearsaw out.